What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are in the mood for an X Plus figure review because I'm trying to keep that train going, especially while I have a little bit of downtime working on a few commissions that either are currently curing or bonding with the resin or the glue, and a couple other pieces that I have some paint drying. So right now my hands are a little tied. I have a little bit of free time, so let me keep this train going. Today I'm looking at the X Plus 25cm Godzilla 2019 from Godzilla King of the Monsters. I feel like I've talked about this movie and this iteration of Godzilla frequently. So a lot of this I'm kind of getting deja vu, so bear with me. And funny enough, this figure was, up until a couple of weeks ago, this figure probably would have been my last X Plus figure for a little while until I had new things come in. But I did kind of just go on a little buying spree and buying. If I saw a good deal on the Godzilla figure, I took it because I figured I'd use some new material for some new custom work, some ideas that I'm working with that hopefully will go exactly as I have planned, if not even better. But before I get into any of that, thank you guys again for checking out the channel. Really appreciate all the feedback I've been getting. I'm also just putting this out there now before I get into the review. I'm going to start reviewing statues as well. I mean, a few and far between, probably. I'm not a huge statue collector, and I'm trying not to be. I've also held off buying statues mostly for a while now, just because I know how I am, and certain things, I have an addictive personality, and I'm really not trying to take that dive. But yeah. I for as long as I tried to put it off, there's just some things that they broke me down, and eventually I'll get to those. But yeah, so look out for that in the near future. Anyway, back to this piece. So Godzilla from Godzilla King of the Monsters is a 25cm scale figure, but he is large. He's a large 25 scale figure. He's closer to a 30cm scale figure. He's bulky as well by design, as we've talked about with this Godzilla. Very thick, pretty hefty for the type of figure he is. He's hollow vinyl, but he feels pretty solid. And funny enough, so this figure's come out a couple of years ago now. It's relatively new, but everybody's pushing out this new MonsterVerse and legendary Godzilla stuff. Everybody's doing it now. So X Plus also, despite just giving us this figure, they just gave us a brand new, people are just getting it now. It's the 25cm Godzilla 2021 from Godzilla vs. Kong, which is aesthetically the same design. It's the same CGI model from Godzilla King of the Monsters from this figure right here, but the pose is different and the texture is a little deeper. So I don't have that one. I wouldn't want both. And ultimately, I do prefer this one, even though I will admit that the texture on the new one looks better from what I've seen. But I like this pose better. I like the face on this one a little more. I don't know why. I don't know if it's what it is. I think I like the eyes better too. But it's just a preference. A lot of people are saying that the new one is a better figure, an improved figure. I believe it. It's just I don't know. I don't know if it's about something with the face that I don't love or the pose I don't love, but that we're not reviewing that guy today. We're reviewing this guy. So yeah, his size is definitely impressive, which also is interesting because I just kind of did a reveal. Well, not a reveal, but I looked at the upcoming 2019 King Ghidorah, which is a companion piece for this figure right here. So if Godzilla is large for a 25cm figure, and King Ghidorah is going to be large for a 25cm figure, I'm assuming that's going to be pretty damn huge. For the longest time, they've kind of put off creating a 30cm King Ghidorah or Mothra or 30cm Biollante or anything like that, just because of the size that it would take. But if they're already like boosting up the size for Godzilla in this line, and they want to scale it with King Ghidorah, then you might as well just come out with 30cm figures. And I know people will love that shit, but I don't know if the engineering is there yet. So the paint job is pretty, I guess, for lack of a better word, it's pretty bland. I mean, if I'm describing it to somebody, there's not much here to describe. It's a lot of browns and grays, kind of. You know, and that's probably being generous because you'd have to really kind of get it into good light to really see the variation between the two colors. But you know, between this and the Rick light up, I chose to go with this one. I don't like light ups. I don't trust them. And at least with this one, I feel like it did have more of a brighter paint job. The Rick was a darker paint job, so it made the light up, the blue color, like pop, have a better contrast. So I did like the detail on this. I mean, it is beautifully painted because they obviously have to keep it screen accurate, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, it is a very dark paint job. It's really hard to really see all the variation in there, but I do like it. It's a figure that I have contemplated doing some custom work to, some paint work, but so far I haven't touched it yet. I don't know if I will. I just got too much going on at the moment, but we'll see. I really do like the way this Godzilla has like the crocodile skin, very realistic looking, a lot of grooves, a lot of it's almost like he has like the armor plating that the top of a crocodile has, where it just looks almost like invincible. Well, this Godzilla has that. His tail looks heavily armored. The spines look very dangerous and durable, unlike where like anybody who's grown up watching the old school Godzilla movies, because it's a suit, the spines are always like dangling around and kind of bouncing up and left and right, swaying with his movement. So it doesn't have the same kind of fortitude that this Godzilla shows off in the movies. And you know, and like I said, these MonsterVerse, whether you like the movies or not, and see, Godzilla King of the Monsters, to me, I love the movie, but I'm a Godzilla fan. I recognize that movie was made by a Godzilla fan. That's part of the reason why I love it. But somebody who's not really a fan of the series or is new to the series, I would definitely kind of have to mentally prepare them that like this is a movie that the human characters, they're lackluster, and the writing sometimes can be a little lame. Like the jokes are mostly lame. But you know, you do got some good actors. I liked Kyle Chandler in it. I liked my dude. Damn, why can't I remember his name right now? Dr. Serizawa, my boy from Last Samurai. I love him in that movie. Inception. Why can't I remember his name anyway? But yeah, they were really good. My chick from the Conjuring movies, she was great. You had Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, criminally underused, but it was cool to see, you know, a lot of these faces together. But yeah, I mean, ultimately the human characters were a disappointment in the movie. You got to really be a Godzilla fan to really appreciate all the fan service, the Easter eggs. I mean, it was made with love in that regard. So I love this movie, but I know what it is. If I wasn't a big Godzilla fan, I would be like, it was okay, it was decent. But the MonsterVerse, my point being, is the MonsterVerse is really kind of blown up for the franchise. It's been great for Godzilla as a franchise, as a property. So everybody now is trying to push out Godzilla merchandise, and ultimately now it's, as somebody like me who I try to keep my collection kind of light and efficiently pick the iterations that I like and my favorite version of that iteration, so to speak. Right now, this Godzilla 25 centimeters is my preferred X Plus of this design. But there's a lot of competition coming, and right now I have my eye on a spiral Godzilla. I think it's 2021. Again, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but I've only seen I think like the render for it. But man, the sculpt on this thing looks amazing, and once this sucker comes out, if he looks as good as this, I will be buying him and replacing my 25 centimeters with that badass thing right there. But for the time being, this is what we have, and this is as good as it gets to me as far as mass-produced vinyl figures. And now that we have a King Ghidorah coming out with them, we also already have Rodan. I'm just waiting on Mothra, and they'll make a very impressive looking set. So, you know, that might be one reason to hold on to this guy, because the one that I was just talking about that I do want for sure is going to be a lot bigger. He's not going to fit with the rest of the cast, if that matters to anybody. I don't even know if it really matters to me. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Now, one thing I gotta say about that movie, though, and it would seem like such a brainless factor. Like it should be so easy for anybody doing a Godzilla movie to think about, but the fact that Godzilla King of Monsters is the only MonsterVerse movie that had the old school Toho music, at least even like updated renditions from Bear McCreary. I mean, it's a no brainer. Like, come on, man. Like, the other MonsterVerse movies not having that music, that's a fail. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's one. Godzilla 2014 is a decent movie, but I hated the score for that movie. Like, it just sounded like so generic. It's like having a Jaws movie without the Jaws theme, or a Star Wars movie without having their themes, a Super Mario game without having any of the Super Mario themes. Like, there's just Godzilla's music is part of the experience. It's iconic. It's part of the character. So I appreciated. I think it felt even more like a Godzilla movie, despite the fact that we already had Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra, like the big three, joining Godzilla in the movie. The fact that they brought back particular themes for it, iconic themes. Bro, I mean, that Mothra theme for that movie is amazing. Like, that's my favorite one out of all of them. But the themes for Godzilla, when he gets rejuvenated after they nuclear bomb his ass at point blank range in the face to revive him, like, it's just certain things. I mean, maybe I'm fanboying a little hard, but that's what I wish they did in the other movies too. It's just, again, to me, they go hand in hand, and I don't think a lot of these Hollywood movie directors understand, that aspect yet. I think that was a smart move. Yeah. So I mean, again, this figure. Final thoughts on this figure. Yeah, it's a great looking piece. The sculpt is nice. I love the eyes. The paint job it's good. It's really good for, obviously, the limitations they had. It's not blowing me away, and not that I really expected it to. It's a very neutral pose. I like the pose, but it's very neutral looking. It doesn't really. You can't, like, it's not expressive. Like, you don't know if this Godzilla's pissed off, if he's sleepy, hungry. Like, you just don't know. At least with the new one, I will say, even though I'm not a huge fan of the pose, he looks like he's ready to, like, attack some shit. So, yeah, I mean, that's character. Ultimately, guys, let me know what you think of this piece. I know, like I said, it's come out a couple years ago, as most of my videos have been. I'm a little behind the curve, but I think I'm gonna be catching up. There's new releases that I have pre-ordered coming, and yeah, so I plan on actually, for once, being on top of things. Thank you guys for watching. Hope everybody's well. Be safe. Peace.